Hey everyone, today we're back in Deuteronomy to talk about discipline. Know then in your heart that as a father disciplines his child, so Yahweh your God disciplines you. So keep the commandments of Yahweh your God by walking in his ways and revering him, because Yahweh your God is bringing you into a good land. Don't say to yourself, my power and the might of my own hand has gotten me this wealth. But remember Yahweh your God, for it is he who gives you your power to get wealth, so that he may confirm his covenant that he swore to your ancestors, just as he's doing today. If you do forget Yahweh your God and follow other gods to serve and worship them, I solemnly warn you today that you shall surely perish. So I have 2 young kids, and it feels like most mornings are the same, where I'm asking them to do the exact same things that they do every single day before school, and yet there's always a big fight about it. They don't want to brush their teeth, they can't find their shoes, they're upset that they have to go to school. And it's always surprising to me how frustrating it gets, because you know what's supposed to happen here, right? How can you forget to get your shoes on or forget to put on underwear or something? This idea of remembering and forgetting, they're actually really important to Deuteronomy. This idea of remembering what God has done, not forgetting who God is and what Yahweh has done to bring his people into this good place. Whether you remember or you forget is going to have consequences for what happens. Do we recognize the source of our blessings? Do we remember where they come from? Or do we say, well, I really earned this on my own? Or on the flip side, do we say, God made me rich, but we forget that it was actually our own greed or selfishness that earned all of that? Well, forgetting what God wants can actually get you pretty far for a time. Right? You can find pretty good evidence of that in the world today, but eventually it does lead to some form of divine discipline. But how does that work? Right? It maybe makes us a little uncomfortable. Is this kind of a violent, vindictive punishment that God is doing? What we see here is, I think, illustrating the way that this works. God gives us what we want until we want God. Going back to thinking about my kids, sometimes when one of them gets really upset, they'll say, I don't want to be part of this family anymore. What if I gave them what they wanted? Just say, all right, we'll get out of my house. Good luck with your life, and I'll see you later. Right? I'm not going to do that, because we're at their maturity level. I know they don't really even mean it, right? And I think God understands that as well. But sometimes if we're insisting on, we want our lives to be this way, God says, all right, go for it. And that's actually what makes our lives so bad, right? We follow these idols of greed and violence and selfishness, and we end up reaping what we sow. God's handing us over to that as a form of discipline. Because true discipline, it comes from a place of love, right? Of wanting our people, our children, to grow, to be more loving themselves. But love doesn't let someone destroy themselves. On the other hand, love might let somebody fall, right? When you've warned them not to do something and then they do it, sometimes shielding them from all the consequences isn't the loving thing to do. But what love does do in those times, even when there has to be discipline, even when we suffer from our own choices, love always lifts us back up. That's what God does. God wants us to grow and learn, and God is always going to be there for us when we can do that.